Chapter 6 Borae and Sio. Princess Luca and Lugio returned to Seville to find Queen Rila even more worried than usual, which was saying something. She looked as if the worry might kill her. "Luisa, you have returned!" She ran forward and hugged her tightly. When Princess Luca squirmed out of her grip, Queen Rila looked around and frowned, her relief turning back to worry. "Where is Bosico?" "I'll be sorry, my queen, but we couldn't find him," said Lugio. "Then what did you find? Did you find anything?" "The monastery be empty. We found 2 dead guards, Annalisa and Lucian, and gave their bodies back to their families. The floors were stained with blood." "Whose? Rilesisho's? The guards'?" Queen Rila asked anxiously. Princess Luca made a face at her mother's use of the romantic diminutive, one of many childhood behaviors she had never grown out of. Well, she was still a child, but she was not that young. "It be likely. I found the blood of elves, natia, and Michki." She frowned. "Elves and Michki? What would they be doing down there? Is it true what they say about the Soledo?" "I don't know." "And do you know where Rilesisho is?" Her eyes were wide with concern. Princess Luca's facial expressions were becoming harder to ignore. Lugio shook his head. "I don't know, but I know that he was captured by the Rossini." Queen Rila blinked. "Really? How?" Her tone was still worried, though there was a hint of curiosity. "Well, we found clear signs of a struggle, so he was captured, killed, or fled. Killing him wouldn't be very useful, because we'd just be angry. They wouldn't have nothing to stop us from attacking, and we should have found a body. If he fled, there'd be the question of why he wouldn't just come back. We didn't find him nowhere, so I don't think he fled. A capture be the most useful and the most likely. Also, we know he was captured and didn't just flee because we found it badly spelled and badly pronounced," Princess Luca interjected. "Seluca!" Queen Rila snapped. "Do not insult the Lessians. They are very important to us." She rolled her eyes. "They sound like pirates and cannot conjugate to be. They are practically asking to be made fun of. Seluca Silna!" Princess Luca rolled her eyes again, but did not continue. "Can I finish?" Lugio asked. Queen Rila sighed. "Yes, please, I am sorry." "Thank you. Anyway, we found a badly spelled note carved into the wall of the chapel saying that if we value the king's life, we need to enter the wall on the side of the Soledo. I think that be what it says at least, because it looks like someone put all the letters in a ball, shook it around, and then threw it on the wall," Lugio said. He frowned. "I should have started with that. Sorry." Queen Rila blinked. "What?" Lugio frowned. "Should I explain it again?" "No, thank you. What would the Rossini have to gain from us entering the war?" "Oh, goodness. My goodness! I just told the Queen and her entire family that I want nothing to do with the war. It will look strange and suspicious if we ally ourselves with the Soledo right after. No one will trust our word again, or they will think we are being threatened." Lugio blinked. "Excuse me, Your Majesty, but that be what be happening." "I know that, but what will happen if everyone else knows, and then the Rossini know that they know? Would they kill Rilesisho? I would not put it past them. And when will they return him to us? If they give him back when we enter the war, nothing is stopping us from just leaving." She fidgeted, then turned to Lugio and Princess Luca. "What do you think we should do?" Princess Luca looked down, her usual confidence diminishing. "I do not know." Lugio sighed. "I think you should agree to it. If he dies, he can't act as monarch no more, and the princess would become queen. I don't mean no disrespect to her, but she be just a child, and that usually don't end well. King Khilazon be a good king, but he be the exception, and a lot of his early reign was just trying not to be manipulated by the aristocracy. It'd be a miracle we survived and stayed stable." Queen Rila returned to her throne, her face hardening. "Then it is decided. I will send a party to ask for their alliance, and when they accept, we will send word of it to Soledo." When Thefia reached the bridge, the Rossini drew their weapons, glaring at her. "Are you la Ethicica, or the daughter of Ferron?" one, who had black fur, asked. Thefia blinked, trying to make sense of the questions with her muddled mind. She knew it was not a good idea to tell the truth, but she was not sure what lie to tell. She was not so sleep-deprived that saying she was the princess, whom she guessed Ethicica was, sounded like a good idea. She did not trust her ability to fake an accent, so she would have to say she was from Old Sillery. She was also not sure if she would be able to pass as an older woman, so she could not say she knew Ferrand personally. The Rossano poked her with his spear. "Spike!" "Yes, sorry. I ain't neither of them. I didn't even know Ferrand," she said. His eyes narrowed. "No? They and the Queen are the only women invented that forced to die." She blinked, again trying to think of a response. How did he know that? She remembered the words of the Soledo. "I'm a Soledo. We have our ways of not being seen." The Rossano still looked a bit skeptical, but he and his companion lowered their weapons and led her across the bridge to a set of large wooden doors. Two more Rossano stood in front of it. "Who's this? A prisoner?" one, a tortoiseshell, asked. She frowned and looked closer. Traitor Vila? Thefia frowned. "Who's that?" she thought. The Soledo? The Rossano laughed. "Do you really think she'd be so stupid? And no, she ain't no prisoner. Get Ethicica." Ethira was usually called Ethicica. It was really only Lord Gageloso who called her Ethira. The Rossano narrowed her eyes. "She and Lord Gageloso are out on business, which you should know. Maybe you would if you paid attention to things." "You're gonna stop this now?" said the Rossano. The other Rossano, who was white with ginger patches, sighed. "Can we just figure out what to do with her?" "Wait for them to get back?" said the first Rossano, who Thefia had taken to referring to as brio netro, brio being the masculine equivalent of bella, and netro meaning a dull black. "No, then they'll get mad at us for wasting time instead of doing something," said the Rossana, who had become Bella Ithra Roja being the word for a tortoiseshell cat or Michka. "Let's just figure out what she's doing here and what we should do from there." "And get yelled at for talking instead of paying attention to who's coming in," said Brionethro. "Right," said Bella Ithra Roja. "You two bring her in and talk to, oh no, the mage." "Who's in charge now?" said the other Rossano. "The mage is guarding the prisoner, but he's the only one around, really. Couple of Soledo. The monk's boy ain't back yet," said Bella Ithra Roja. Thefia frowned. How did a boy raised in a monastery get wrapped up in this? The other Rossano laughed. "The monk's boy? What good did he do?" Bella Ithra Roja smiled. "Good point. And even if he did come back, he's late. That won't go well for him." "So the mage, then?" The other Rossano shrugged. "I guess so. Can't think of knowing better." "Right," said Brionethro. "Come on then, girl." Thefia nodded. Bella Ithra Roja and Brionethro led her in the camp and to Berachon the mage, who was standing near Elinsco, who was sitting against a tree like an abandoned doll. Thefia nearly sucked in a breath when she saw him. Then, anger began to simmer inside her. They had done something to her best friend. Something terrible. She wanted to draw her sword, kill the mage, who she was sure was responsible, fling Elinsco over her shoulder, and run. She knew that was a bad idea, though, even with her lack of sleep. She would probably just blow her cover and get herself captured, too. The mage had black fur, a little more unkempt than Lord Gageloso's, and his eyes were green. Reading his braids, one could learn that he was fairly highly ranked and married. He held a staff and wore loose red robes, because it was some kind of law of the universe that mages had to wear robes. Berachon the mage frowned. "Who is this?" he asked. "Some girl who showed up," said Brionethro. "Says she ain't the princess or the daughter of Ferrand." Berachon chuckled. "Well, she's telling the truth about that first one, at least. Much too tall to be La Ethicica." He paused. "And she didn't scream about what I said." "Definitely not her, then." He looked at Thefia. "So who are you, and what are you doing here?" Thefia blinked. "I am Thefia of Old Sillery, daughter of Belashas." Elinsco twitched at the sound of her voice, though she did not see it since she was busy cursing herself for that alias. Isofoetha was Theophonsia pronounced backwards with an A at the end, and Belachas was her godmother's name. It could have been worse, she supposed. She could have been Songe, the first two syllables of the Quinian word for Soleda, and an alias used by Queen Silenda of 100 years when she disguised herself as a Soledo, which also sounded a little too much like a rude word for Soledi. Nervela Feris, which essentially meant not the daughter of Pharaoh, Lifania, the Quinian form of the Adelicite form of Theophania, one of her sister's names, put something together based on her surroundings, or not changed her mother's name. I got lost and found a party to follow back here, she continued. Luckily for her, Lord Caceloso was the only one of the people who were usually at this camp who could read something other than his own name, so they did not recognize that fact about her alias. Berachon the mage frowned, though. That's a strange name. Thefia blinked, then suddenly remembered what Bella Ithra had said. We work for someone named Caceloso. The mage inclined his head, smiling a little, and the other two Michki chuckled. Good point. So which party? She frowned, then pointed at Elinsco. He was with them. Right. So, why didn't you come in with him? I wasn't sure I had the right one. I wanted to make sure I was in the right place before I came in, she said. He shrugged. Right? He looked to the other Michki. What should we do now? Brionethral frowned. Find out if she's really loyal? She could be a spy. Berachon the mage nodded, then glanced at Elinsco. How about you fought this boy? Thefia's heart sank. Bella Ithra frowned. Jarissa King, but we need him. The maid shrugged, smiling. We need him alive, but Ethicica be the first to say we can let him bleed a little first. Thefia was hoping she had not gone pale. The mage looked back at her. So, Osofoetha, fought the boy. Elinsco stood, though he looked more like a puppet being lifted to its feet. Thefia drew her sword, and Bella Ithra found a sword for Elinsco. The moment Elinsco saw Thefia's face, he came back to himself, realizing what was happening. He cried out, louder and more forceful than before. The mage gasped and staggered, then straightened and set his face in concentration, trying to regain control. Elinsco jerked sharply to the right, trying to flee, but Bella Ithra and Brionethro leapt on him and held him down. Elinsco struggled against their grip, muttering several creative phrases and epithets. For some reason, Thefia's loudest thought was how if Viamirsha were there, she would be searching for the soap. But they became less and less until he went limp like a doll, and Berachon the mage wore a triumphant smile. Sorry about that, he said. Looks like someone ain't learned his lesson. Now, fight. And they did, as they had hundreds of times before, lunging and slashing and parrying with excellent skill. Elinsco tried to resist, but he could not overcome the skill and strength of the magic of Berachon the mage. Thefia tried not to hurt him and winced a little every time she did, thankful for her scarf. Thefia was tired, though, while Elinsco had been getting an unusually high amount of sleep lately. Though she was determined to help her friend, she was exhausted, and it won against her resolve. Elinsco knocked her down and had his sword at her chest. And Lord Caceloso and Ethicica picked that moment to return and see all this. What is going on here? Ethicica said. Well, she said something like that. Again, Thefia thought of her mother looking for the soap. The three Michki stiffened. Elinsco straightened and Thefia stood, wincing. Why are you two not at your post? Lord Caceloso said. And who is this? Well, this girl showed up, and we, Brionethro stammered. And you let her in? You didn't talk to no one, just let her in? Ethicica said. Well, you were gone, and we thought... You thought? Lord Caceloso scoffed. No, you did not. None of you ever think. I swear, is it so hard to find one intelligent, literate Rosanna to help me? Thefia began shuffling away, since they seemed to be focused on yelling at the Michki and not at her. Elinsco glanced up, and for a second she could see him return. There was a pleading look in his eyes, asking her to rescue him. Suonali Sijo, she thought, and wished she could say, We'll come back for you. We won't leave you here." She could not help him yet. If she tried to grab him and run, someone would surely notice, and with how tired she was, she would not be able to get back to the rest of the party. The fact he did not have a weapon did not help, and anyway, it would be of little use unless he could fight off the mage's influence, or she killed the mage, or at least injured him so badly that he could not keep using magic, since Nisco would be fighting her attempts. Neither Lord Gageloso nor Ethicica noticed she was leaving, and the other Michki were mostly looking at the ground. The rest of the camp was busy trying not to be noticed. She left and then found the rest of her group. The guards at the gate seemed more sympathetic than suspicious, and the ginger and white Michka who had stayed at his post looked like someone who had been narrowly missed by a crossbow bolt. Ethicica and Lord Gageloso eventually calmed down enough to realize that Thefia was missing. Ethicica shouted something that would have had Via Mirsha getting the soap. "She's gone!" Lord Gageloso sighed. "Oh, wonderful! So she was a spy." He looked at Ethicica. "So besides punishing these three," he said, shooting another glare at the other Michki, "what should we do about her?" "Oh, I'll find her. Always do," Ethicica said. She looked at the Michki. "Who did you say she was?" "Son fuerza," said Brionethel. "You fools!" Lord Gageloso said. "That is Theofonsia pronounced backwards with an A at the end. A is the letter that makes an R sound." "You two let the daughter of Ferron in here?" said Ethicica, practically shouting daughter of Ferron, though she put a certain adjective in front of it. Brionethro and Bella Roja looked at each other with the expression of children who know they just did something incredibly stupid, are about to be punished for it, and have no way out of it. "I didn't know," Brionethro said. "Well, you should have," said Lord Gageloso. Ethicica glanced at Nismo, then looked at Berachon the mage. "Let him say if he knows anything." The mage nodded and loosened his grip on Nismo. Ethicica came up to him. "So, boy, where'd your little friend go?" she said. Nismo glared at her. "I ain't telling you nothing," he ground out. And he did not. "What happened?" Lonxer asked when he saw Thefia returning. "He all right?" Thefia sighed, taking off her scarf. "He's a puppet. They used shadow magic, I'm guessing." "I hope," she thought. She had thankfully never seen puppetry through water magic, or experienced it herself, but she had heard that there was a distinct sound it made, and it was very painful. It was also more difficult because of the iron and blood. She hoped they would take the pragmatic route. Of course, there was also the other kind of blood magic. Or a curse. She did not want to even consider those possibilities. Lonxer's hand clenched into a fist. How dare they? He was now speaking almost entirely in dialect, and he reached for his sword. "Oh, when I get my hands on them, I'm gonna—" Thefia took his wrist. "Not yet, Lonxer Jarissa. We gotta figure out what to do," he sighed. "It's Lonxer Jarissa, and we should just kill the mage." She shook her head. "I don't think it would be that simple. They wouldn't let it be." He crossed his arms. "I don't see how." "Curses," Princess Silenda said. Thefia stiffened, the color draining from her face. "That would require an exorcism to get rid of, which would mean finding an exorcist and then trying to convince Bishop Brass that it is a curse and not just some other magic, or—" Seeing Thefia's stricken expression, she trailed off. Bishop Brass was the Bishop of Veravine. "It is unlikely," she said quickly. "Demons are impossible to control." She frowned. "It has been said that Azanya Losa grants a hold of immunity to that type of magic. A puppetry. Shadow, blood, and Orden alike. No power against demons, though. The writings of Duke Elinsco the Short actually call her a demon. Anyway, she is said to be in here, but I do not know how to find her." "Borae might. We can ask him," said Menosino. Everyone stared at him. He blinked. "What? You can just talk to Borae?" Princess Silenda asked. He frowned. "Yes, usually. You know how spirits are." "Apparently I know better now," she muttered. He shrugged. "Well, the spirits ain't perfect. Borae's parenting aside, this may tell us something important. We should try to talk to him, said Queen Silenda. Can you take us to him? Menyosinho nodded. Yes, he is just in Kirovino. Thefia changed back into her normal clothes, and Menyosinho led them through the forest. Princess Silenda and her father tried to keep track of where they went, but found they could not. It was too confusing. Just before entering the town, Menyosinho turned to the rest of the group. Just warning you, we ain't used to outsiders, and actually don't really like them. I wouldn't be doing this if it weren't important. I understand. Show us where he is, said Queen Silenda. Menyosinho nodded and led them inside. Girovigno was a small town. The Soledo milled about, walking from place to place, and the children played. The children near the entrance turned to stare at the newcomers with a combination of curiosity and suspicion, while the adults did the same, but less obvious. One girl reacted with excitement. She was young, probably less than 10, with nutmeg hair and 2 pigtails, and ran up to them, her green eyes sparkling. "New people!" she said. Many would have described her voice as a pitch only wolves and bats could hear. She looked up at them, eyes wide with wonder. "You're pretty! I bet you're the princess!" she said to Queen Silenda. She smiled. "I am the queen, actually, but thank you." "Oh," said the girl. "Well, what are you doing here?" "We are helping to gather information from Borae," she explained. The girl smiled. "Well, we can show you where you can talk to him." "Thank you. What is your name?" "Quinia. What are yours?" "I am Queen Silenda, my husband is King Ridero, my daughter is Princess Silenda, and our gods are Thefia and Elinsco." Thefia smiled. "Please, just call me Thefia. Everyone does." Quinia nodded. "All right. "We'll show you where he is now," said Menyosinho. They led them to a clearing where Borae stood. He looked like an elf was made of tree, with his skin like bark and his hair like leaves. They were mostly green, and he was wearing green Ardaran-style clothes. Borae frowned inside when he saw them, his hair turning more red and yellow. Oh, great, the hexagon crowd. He looked up. "Sio! Get over here! You made this problem, and you are solving it!" Lightning cracked and Sio appeared. He was taller than last time, but still 1.5 feet shorter than Princess Silenda and Elinsco, with short but big hair, and of course wore the purple and yellow jester's hat. "And so I arrive, so rudely summoned," he said. Borae rolled his eyes. "What is it this time?" Sio continued. "Can Zanyelosa stop puppetry?" Princess Silenda asked. His expression brightened. "Oh, yes, she can! Whether it is shadow, blood, or that fool, Orden." "And blood magic, the other type?" "Of course!" "Why?" She knew the question was completely irrelevant, but that did not matter to her. It never did. He shrugged. "An accident, really. I think it has something to do with how annoying she is." "Anyway, you can read, right?" She nodded. Yes, my family and I can." He smiled. "Great!" He handed her a piece of paper. "Just do what this says, and you will find her." The outline of a cube appeared around him, then closed in, and he disappeared. Borae sighed. "I hate it when he's like this," he muttered. Princess Silenda looked at it and shook her head. "I do not know what I expected from Sio." "What does it say?" Queen Silenda asked. She sighed. "First we must find a rock shaped like his hat, then play the storm galliard, then follow the path it opens until coming to a larger rock carved with the hat and a hexagon, which should be glowing orange, where—" She hesitated, her face reddening. "Oh, goodness, where I must chant La Consacranza. And finally, another path opens up, which takes us to a Zanyelosa. Only the holder of one of the Ashalari can do this and hold a Zanyelosa. Or, at least, she will be the least angry with me." Technically, no one was supposed to read La Consacranza until they reached 18 or married, but some of it was popular text for church music, so the rule was relaxed in that case. "Well, surely we can relax the rule for this." Queen Silenda looked at Princess Silenda. "And knowing my daughter, she probably carries a book of chant everywhere she goes." Princess Silenda blushed again and sheepishly pulled one out, one which had miscellaneous holy songs and poems, and the main chant Lacaria settings, and the other chant set for each specific agradi. "I do." The Queen sighed, but smiled. Well, that solves that problem. You know the storm galliard? She nodded. Of course! It was popular in Sonera. Menyo Signo? Queen Silenda turned to the boy. Do you know where to find the rock? He nodded. Of course I do. Then take us there. He nodded again. Ethicica frowned. But I want to come too. It sounds fun. Are you sure? It will be very dangerous. Can you fight? Asked King Ridero. And what about your parents? That is a question for both of you. She frowned. Yes, and I'll be fine with it. We go into the forest all the time. Yes, well, this is much more dangerous than usual, King Ridero said. It would be best for you to stay out of it. Ethicica sighed, realizing she would not be able to convince them to let her come. Oh, well, good luck. She ran off. Queen Silenda turned to Menyo Signo. Take us to the stone. He nodded and led them back into the forest.